As we put a focus on five-star national, welcome in Josh Haynes, Georgia Youth Program Director. Josh, thanks for taking the time to talk.
I appreciate it, Corey. Thanks for having us today.
Absolutely. In five-star, over 4,500 players have received college scholarships. More than 120 have gone on to be drafted in the MLB draft. And the program has locations from Florida to Texas, Philadelphia to Indiana, including Puerto Rico. The road to all those destinations, though, begins at the youth level, including what you do in Tifton, Georgia. Josh, when you sit down with a player and parents, what is the message, the possibilities that you lay out, and the expectations for someone that's part of the five-star program?
When we reach out and our parents reach out and want to, know what our program's about, especially at the youth level, we really focus in on getting guys ready for the high school showcase circuit. And now that kind of, with 14U being as popular as it is, and that, getting close to a recruitable draft, recruitable grad year, that, it kind of, everything boils into it as far as we need to, get these guys developed and, ready to take on the showcase circuit per se. So when they come in, say, a 9-10-year-old, for instance, they come in our program, it's, we're evaluating a parent as much as they're evaluating us. And it's, if their mindset isn't on the directional of, I want my kid to be, number one, challenged, number two, to be developed, then it's not going to work anyway. Andy Burst's done an outstanding job of creating a monster in the high school program. And in order for these kids to come into our program and have success, be able to utilize that, they have to be pushed to their, to find their ceiling per se. And, I think that's where, Andy kind of brought us in 2014 as far as the youth program, just kind of divert some focus towards that.
When you boil down five stars philosophy for player development, how do you approach that? Certainly you can take a look at a place like Driveline where they have like a model player skills, work ideals and drills around that and practice until you get perfect. How does five star go about it in terms of the player development?
Man, that's kind of a tough question just from a fact of, I kind of put it in a nutshell. It kind of varies to the kid. Different kids are coached in different ways. We don't have anybody on staff that's a cookie cutter coach. There's not one way to play this game. Find out what a kid does well, and let's build off of that, opposed to trying to just look for negatives that we're going to polish. Let's give them some. Let's be comfortable about the development process, and find the positives in it, and let's build off of that. A lot of times that takes care of any negatives you have anyway. So it really is just kind of based on the kid and their skill sets need.
How does it all work together in terms of a player that you get in and you're producing the teams that we see at LakePoint Sports, both during the fall schedule as well as the summer with those top end national travel squads? How does that kind of all work in conjunction in terms of, getting a player, developing them, kind of pinpointing them and then elevating them to a travel team?
Man, it's, some of them come in and start with us at 9 years old. It's like I said, we started in 2012, 2014, merged with Andy and Five Star, which was Chain at the time. We get some of them at 10 and they stay in the program, and it's a gradual process. Some of them we get that, at 13, 14, where they may have been somewhere else, it wasn't a great fit. They kind of, plateaued, and there's lots of different reasons. So it kind of just varies on the kid again. Our main goal is, though, when we're evaluating player parent, it's, we're looking for guys that want to be a program guy. We want this to be the last stop, whether it be when they come at 9, whether it be when they're 14 years old. And if we, do our evaluation process correctly, weigh out what their goals are to make sure that our program is a fit for them. If we do that correctly, we're on the same page, it will be their last stop. And so we kind of base it around that.
How do you build up a kid's ability to kind of do those intangibles? Certainly you can see what a kid can do in your facility. You can see what a kid can do, on the field. But in terms of like creating kids who are good teammates, obviously you encourage one another. How do you kind of foster that within a team and within a player?
I'm thankful enough. I've got a great staff that we all had the same values at heart. We played a game of baseball. Number one, learn how to fail. Number two, to be good young men. And our staff tries to reflect that day in, day out, staying consistent with that, and holding everybody to the same standard. Nobody's different from one another. We can all be held to the 5-star standard, and being consistent with that. You can't take days off as a coach by holding them to that standard. So that's kind of the way we, as far as developing the intangibles per se, just, be a good person. It reflects. Kids are sponges, and that's, if we do things the right way, we coach them hard, love them after, it always translates to success. And that's kind of where we found some success on our end.
Okay, so you mentioned success, and some of what you just said may tie into this, but I'm curious what you guys deem as success. I mean, it's not hard to find what is a literal success story. I mean, you can look in the 5-star website and see, name after names of kids who have gone on to major programs. I mean, there's already 6 in the class of 2023 collectively, 5-star players, going to SEC schools, ACC schools. So what in your mind defines success? Is it that ultimately getting a kid a Division I scholarship? Is it taking a kid and making him fundamentally sound, making him a good teammate? I mean, ultimately, what do you deem as a success story?
Success story is, a young man coming out of our system 10 years from now and, becoming a good father, good husband, good community leader, something along those lines. As far as the baseball side of it, let's just find their ceiling, whatever that may be, whether it is D1, at the Vanderbilts, Tennessee's, or whether it's D3, at a Covenant or wherever it may be. Let's find your ceiling. We're going to push you to the max on getting to that as quickly as possible. But from the youth side of it, we kind of focus on, I tell my guys, especially when they get to the 12, 13, 14 U range, guys, let's make these kids be able to jump on a varsity field as a freshman, sophomore, the speed of the game they're used to. They're used to the speed of practice on day in, day out. That way everything doesn't move so fast for them. They're able to come, compete, and be productive as underclassmen. That's really our goal as far as the youth side of it, I would say, on the baseball side. Thankfully, in our area, we work really close with some of the high school coaches around here. We have great relationships with, and we're very vocal about that. Hey, Coach, what do you expect from Tommy here? What do you need us to, kind of hone in on? Because we get them on the weekends and games that we can test them in certain areas where he may not be able to afford to do that on a Tuesday night region game. So that's kind of where we, define success on the baseball side of it. But, first and foremost is creating good young men. That's the priority.
Well, Josh, congratulations on all that success so far, and I appreciate the time. Wishing you and 5-star nothing but the best in 2022.
I appreciate it, Cory. Thanks for having us today.